about, to Shane, you were saying that when you mentioned house building, or building more houses, we all shouted you down in Cambridge. I'm just wondering, who are you asking? The people who've got houses, or the people who have got them?
That's an excellent point, and I couldn't possibly comment, but I think it's probably the latter, the people who have houses, and I said that exactly in the last Hustings. When I talked about we need to build more homes, everyone murmured, oh, we don't need that, we've got too many houses here, I was told. And I said it's easy for people to say, you have lots of money, they're established here, they don't have a mortgage anymore, to say we don't need any more houses. But frankly, people do need houses, and that's what I'm advocating for. I've got a lot of abuse for saying it, but I'm not going to stop saying it because it's too important.
Okay, thanks very much.
Our economy has suffered massively from the way the government has implemented the Brexit referendum. I'd like to ask you, what would you do to improve relations and trade with our nearest neighbours in Europe?
Yes, I think we've seen that food prices have gone up since Brexit. Everyone's been suffering. People here, you don't know that only too well, running the Cambridge City Foodbank. In terms of relations and trade, I think, the Green Party would seek to rejoin the EU when the time is right. We're not saying that time is now, but that's something that we would work towards to rejoin these relationships of trade, which were very beneficial to us. And I think we all kind of know that now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
I think it's such a good question, so thank you for raising it, because I think Brexit has become the elephant in the room in this general election, in that absolutely nobody, apart from the Liberal Democrats, are talking about it. We know Rishi Sunak is simply embarrassed because his party got us into this mess, and Keir Starmer, when he does choose to speak, is repeatedly saying that he sees no case for rejoining the EU, which is absolutely baffling because of all the issues associated with it that Sarah's raised. The Liberal Democrats have been a party who wanted to be part of Europe from the very start. We've laid out a plan to move us towards there, because I think for me, I also want to see Europe succeed, and I think there's a very strong chance that straight away they would not want us back until we accept all the other offers they put on the table for us. One of those is the Erasmus scheme, which would allow some of the students that I teach to travel, study abroad freely and easily. We should rejoin the single market and the customs union, which would immediately start to ease those trading relationships and restore trust. And long term, we should definitely move to rejoin. I think it's the only option to start alleviating some of the issues here. And it's so disappointing that no one's talking about it, apart from us.
Right.
Thank you. So, for those of you who don't know, I stood for the European Parliament in 2019, and someone said to me once, I think if it would help you probably drape yourself with an EU flag and chain yourself to whatever railing is available, and I probably would. Daniel is doing the work already on this, actually, which I think is really helpful. He's in the team that will be looking at food. He's already talking, for example, he's been to Northern Ireland, he's talking about how we can get the food through, he's talking about how we can... It's absolutely ridiculous. Food is rotting at the borders because it can't come through. It's been absolutely shambolic for a party that seems to really like the idea of Brexit. The Tories have made an absolute shambles of it, and our absolute priority in this has to be to improve radically our trade so that we get rid of those barriers to trade and we stop this ridiculous situation that we're currently in.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you very much for this question. The reason why I'm not just British, also I'm European. I hold Slovakian citizenship. Just this is for your knowledge. My lady, she's Polish as well, very Catholic Polish. She's really part of it. Now, our government failed in all means to do any good deals with Europe. We have to doing deals with a living for our citizens, traveling, movements, treatments. Our patients, our nursing team, they have houses there. Our people, citizens, they have houses in Spain, here and there. And they're struggling now. They consider themselves second-degree citizens. Why I go there as a first-degree citizen to Europe? This is not fair. They are our friends, they are our neighbors. They failed with any negotiation with the European, even about the immigrants. We have to talk to them. They are our big family. Most of us coming from European background, maybe. And this is why we have to rebuild that connections with Europe. Thank you very much.
we should restore as much as we can of our relations with Europe, but the dream, the prospect of joining Europe is probably unrealistic because the EU won't allow Britain back. Because to allow Britain back would be to make the process reversible, which would encourage other populist politicians to split from the EU, then knowing that they could come back again, which would basically destroy the EU within a few years. So it's unlikely that Britain will be back for many decades. This seen from a common sense point of view.
Thank you. I just want to start by picking up some of the comments on the left. I get this is going to be incredibly unpopular in a city like Cambridge, but I think some of the comments on the left are incredibly disrespectful to the 17.4 million people that voted to leave the European Union. You might not like it, but they voted and we honoured that referendum. Yes, we've not done as great a deal as we could since, but to talk about returning, let's have another vote until they say everything we want them to say is frankly disgusting. And when you talk about the economy not performing, you make it out like we're the only country struggling. We're the fastest growing economy in the G7 at the moment, which includes France, Germany and Italy. We also forget the fact that as soon as we left the European Union, we had a global pandemic which affected every major European economy. So to talk about it like we're uniquely struggling, I think is disingenuous. But we have got good agreements with Europe. Yes, they can be improved, but as David mentioned, it's got to work both ways as well. And we've signed countless trade deals all over the world. So to judge a project which was always going to be long-term, in the first couple of years where most of it has been impacted by COVID and people not negotiating in good faith, I think again it's just short-sighted.
That's the first time this evening when we've seen some essential differences between the parties on an issue. So thanks for that, Shane. Please, no more questions on Europe. Let's move on to some other issues. So I'm going to move across to the back, on the back row there, please.